What is going on? Welcome to episode 18 of the Nintendo Powercast. I'm your host, N64 Josh, and I've got my co-host, Destinot. How are you, my man?
Doing good. Super excited. Certain small little game dropped this week for the Switch, so yeah, I'm excited about that.
I like to hear that. We also got my good buddy, we call him Hate, because his gamer tag is I Hate My Life 04, which he's our first returning guest. So, welcome, dude.
Hey, good to be back. I'm honored to be the first.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So we have a fun show planned tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. We are going to talk about our wish list for the SNES Mini, and we may squeeze in a little bit of Destinot's salty thoughts. Maybe we should have a new little segment called like Salty Thoughts with Destinot.
I don't know if you have enough time.
Yeah, this is only an hour show.
So, but we may get into the Zelda DLC a little bit. So, guys, we are doing this show live on twitch.tv/The Loot Cave. You can watch with us. We try to start around 9 p.m. Pacific. Everybody in the chat's kind of harassing us right now, but we're a little late. But just life happens, so bear with us. You can also watch it on YouTube.com/The Loot Cave, and you'll be able to watch and listen on the lootcave.com/NPC18, where we will have all the links that we mentioned. So, Destinot.
Yeah.
What Nintendo games have you been playing this week?
I played a little game. Some of you might have heard of it. It's called Mario Kart Deluxe. Oh, I'm sorry, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Yeah, that dropped on Friday. So I've been grinding through that. I think, well, apparently I didn't have to grind through it. I played all through the 50cc. I played all through the 100cc.
3-starring everything?
Yes. 3-starred all those, all 100, all 50, 3 stars. I'm now on 150, which 150 is where it goes into like full cheese mode. And it's insanely annoying on certain sets of tracks to get 3 stars. So most of them are 3 stars though. I got to go back and do a couple. But yeah, I say grinding because I guess we didn't have to grind. I found out today from you, or was it yesterday, that apparently if you just go straight to 150, it auto fills in 50 and 100, which I don't think it did on the Wii U. Did it?
Yeah, it did.
All right. Well, I'm stupid twice.
Oh, me too. I forgot as well. I did 50 and 100. So, did you pick up any other games? Tetris?
Yeah, Puyo Puyo Tetris, which I like. It's pretty fun. There's a story mode. I played it very briefly. But then got to play with the wife. She doesn't like the Puyo Puyo so much. It's a little bit different than Tetris. It has more to do with matching colors. Whereas Tetris is all about, getting the right combination of kind of like puzzle pieces in a sense to knock off lines. Puyo Puyo is more about if you get 4 of one color that touch, it doesn't matter in what order they touch. It could be, straight up and down. It could be like a block. It'll then blow up like that block, plus if there's any surrounding like bricks that your enemy drops on you. There's also a game mode that's like you mix Tetris and Puyo Puyo. There's one where you're playing Tetris and every 20 seconds it switches you to Puyo Puyo. And then in 20 seconds later it switches you back to your Tetris game. So you're playing 2 separate games at the same time. There's quite a few modes. It's pretty fun. If you didn't know your wife had Tourette's, you do now after playing it. Because, yeah, my wife, I've only ever seen that twice with her. It's from the original Splatoon and now Puyo Puyo Tetris. I went to bed the other night. She stayed up till midnight, and all I could hear were F-bombs being dropped in the next room over. So, but but very fun game. It fits right in with, like I've said in the past. There's a lot of Switch games that it's the whole, you can pick it up, play it for 10 minutes, set it down. It really scratches that itch of just, playing in spurts. So yeah. So liking both of those. Mario Kart, not so much pick up in spurts. You can, but not the way I play.
Can you play? Could my wife and I play against you and your wife on Puyo Puyo Tetris?
I don't know. I haven't looked too much into the online functions of the game. I think there is one. That'd be stupid if they didn't have online function for it. I feel like that's a perfect game for it. I'll have to look into that. Well,
do that.
I'll update you guys next week.
All right. Hey.
Yes, sir.
How about you, man? What have you been playing this week?
Well, I also picked up that indie title, Mario Kart, and it was a sleeper. I wasn't sure about it. No, I've been playing a lot of that. That's been pretty fun. I'm a little disappointed. I wish and I also went through 50 and 100.
Nice.
I kind of wish they would have said, "Did you own it on Wii U?" And if not, everything would not be unlocked for you. Because I don't really see the incentive of going through all those modes other than I did it just because I want more play out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, other than carts, right? That's the only thing that's unlocking is carts and cart parts. And so, and it's random. So like I'm dying to get the B dasher and I still don't got it. I still don't got it. Has that pretty much been it? Just Mario Kart this week?
Yeah, I beat Zelda a little bit ago, which I know that's old news now, but I finally got around to finishing it.
Nice.
It was great up until the ending, but I'm not going to get into that. I wasn't a huge fan, but I love the game overall. One of the best. Still not my favorite Zelda of all time. So, but other than that, just Mario Kart. I'm looking forward to next week. You guys may or may not care, but NBA Playground comes out, I think, on the 9th next week. Kind of looks like NBA Jam style, $20. Looks like it'll be fun to just play like a game or two and then put away.
Is there a big head mode?
By default, they're all big heads.
Oh, perfect.
So I don't think there's a regular head mode from what I've seen.
Nice.
Even better yet.
Yep.
Even better yet. It's kind of been the same for me, guys. Like a lot of Mario Kart. I was even playing. I basically dubbed last week Mario Kart Week for all of my streams. And
I mean, you didn't call it Mario May?
No, I didn't.
Missed opportunities.
I know. So played Mario Kart 8 on the Wii up until the game dropped on Friday, and I was sitting in bed Thursday night I was like, wow, I could download this right now, but I get a better deal, right? I get a better deal if I buy a physical copy. Well, Target price matches. So just for you, Destinot, I went and got the Mario Kart 8 Rubik's Cube just so I can see you shake your head.
Well, I guess you got to employ the kids from Indonesia, so kudos to you.
So wait, let's go back to something. You said Target price matches Amazon?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yep. So, and so does Best Buy, but Target opened earlier. Here's what's super sad, guys. I got there at about 8:30. If I'd gotten there at 7 when they opened, I would have had another NES Classic. They were in stock that day, and then they were gone. Draco in the chat is saying no air freshener. And I do want to give a quick shout out to everybody here. Speed Demon, Soup Kitchen, Mike Debates, Alcatel Sertini. Did I miss anybody? I think I said Soup. All right. everybody that's here, thank you so much. Drummer, I see you there, bud. Thanks, guys, for coming and hanging out with us live. We appreciate it. But yeah, so it's been a lot of Mario Kart 8, and we can just we can kind of get into that right now. Like Hate kind of mentioned, there's not a lot of incentive to play through just the single player, other than, you know, you can get coins, but you can get coins in any of the modes. One of the things for me that like was a really big incentive, like in Mario Kart 7, was to play through all of the tracks and get 3 stars on everything, because then when you went online, you took those 3 stars with you. And not a lot of people had those 3 stars. So it was kind of like, because I mean, some of it's just luck with Mario Kart, you know, and that's just the name of the game. Like you, anybody that watched me stream last night saw firsthand I could be in first or second place and then finish 11th because of the way that like all the red shells would just start raining down upon me, and a blue shell and everything else. So that's just the name of the game. That's just the way it is. So, you know, if you get those 3 stars, it's an accomplishment. Well, in Mario Kart 8, you get all those 3 stars, guess what? It doesn't show up online. At least it didn't on the Wii U. Maybe this is different. I'm hoping. Fingers crossed. But 3-starring 200cc is going to be quite a chore. Quite a chore. But Destin, I know we had kind of talked back and forth about, like, you know, this game is like a kind of a glorified game of the year with a little bit of the, you know, extra content, battle mode, that kind of stuff. How are you feeling about it now that you've played it?
Well, I purchased this back on the Wii U. I purchased the DLC for the Wii U. I really enjoy this game. So this actually isn't one where purchasing it a second time, I don't feel like I'm not going to get my money's worth, or I don't know if I'm giving it a pass in a sense, because the only thing different you could say from those other versions are the battle mode. You know, performance wise, you know, some people might say like, oh, you're going from the Wii U to the Switch, you know, is it going to be better? Well, it's, in my opinion, negligible increases in performance, but I just like this game so much, and it's so polished. The new battle modes, which are supposed to be like, oh, sweet battle modes. The battle modes that I've played, like when we got a group together the other night and played, I was kind of unimpressed with the battle modes. So, I mean,
because there wasn't enough jets on fire, right?
Yeah, right,
flying
right.
through the air.
Well, no, it's just I really liked the battle modes from way back in the day. You know, you got the balloons, and that's about it. But other than that, like that, what was that one where you got to go get coins, or the one where you're kind of like cops and robbers? I'm like, it's like whatever. I wasn't impressed by those. I felt like they were almost like throwaway modes that they just shoehorned in there for just to be like, look at all the new content we've got. Whereas, I don't know, the balloon mode, I still enjoy that the most. They could have just thrown that in there and I would have been happy. So I guess I'm complaining because there's too much stuff in there. But
it's always something, Mr. Salt.
Yeah, you know, but as far as the racing goes, it being like, you know, 100% the same as what we had before, I'm okay with that. I love this game so much. I think it's so polished that I have no idea where they're going to go with Mario Kart 9. If they're smart, they'll go into space. So, but yeah, I love this game so much that, you know, it's like, there's no way I wasn't going to buy it for the Switch.
What if Mario Kart 9 is Mario Kart Maker?
Here's the thing. You know how, like, when you go to that, like, really expensive restaurant? Oh, no, let me backtrack, because it's not that expensive. Korean barbecue.
Okay, sure.
You have to go, and they bring you the raw meat, and then you make it yourself, and then they charge you a lot for it. And it's like, I have to pay you to cook my own food. And I feel that's how Mario Maker is for me. It's like, wait, I have to pay you to make my own level?
Well, did you play, what was the game on PlayStation with Sackboy, whatever, the
Little Big Planet?
Little Big Planet? They had a kart racer where you could do custom tracks, I believe, right?
I believe so. I never played that. I only played the original game. And I didn't even really get into making levels. I played the levels that they gave you, and then that was kind of it.
But they could do something like that where you get, 30 Nintendo-made levels, and then now here comes the barrage of, punishing levels from the Peanut Gallery.
Yeah.
It could be interesting.
I don't know.
I don't know what else they could do. I mean, Mario Kart 8's kind of the definitive Mario Kart, right? So,
and yeah, that's just it. It's got, you're driving underwater. You're driving on walls. You don't see it as you're driving, but you at times, because of the way the track is laid out, you're upside down. Like your car turns into kind of like a hovercraft at times. It turns into like a boat. Like I said, when you're going through the water, like a little propeller pops out. And it's those little details that are really cool about it. But yeah, where would you go from there? I mean, there's even parts where you're almost flying in a sense. You go off of a jump, your little parachute or glider comes out, so you're almost flying. So they can't even add wings pop out of your car and you're actually flying. I guess they could, but I don't know.
Did you play Diddy Kong Racing ever?
Way back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have many memories of it.
All those same things. I mean, hovercrafts, planes, karts. So
yeah,
I'd love to see that series come back, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of all been done before, so I don't know what they can do to keep it fresh. Nintendo's historically great at keeping their franchises fresh for a very, very long time.
I think there's quite a bit they could do, and I think one of the things they could do is kind of looking at the overall unlocking stuff progression system, addressing that. Like on the DS, there was a story mode where you did little boss battles, and it was kind of throwaway content, honestly. It was something that I kind of messed around with, but didn't love. I think doing really taking a look at the weapons in the game, particularly the spiny shell, and that weapon is given to somebody in last place or real far back, and it messes up the person in first place and maybe hits a few people on the way. So to me, it doesn't seem like it's not nearly as effective as the bullet bill, which just literally will probably move you ahead from 10th to maybe 7th or 6th or something, depending on how far back you are. And so they've got some really great weapons, and they've got some stuff that it's that maybe feels a little stale. I don't think anybody would really miss that blue shell. The only thing that kind of makes it fun is when you're in second and you watch first place get destroyed by it.
Yeah.
Right.
I would appreciate the blue shell if there was more than that one option to destroy it. If I had any fighting chance against it, it would be fine.
Yeah, even, you could have a star, and you can actually boost out of it if you have a mushroom. But guess what? If you're in first, you're not getting mushrooms. You're not getting coins. A star. You get coins and bananas.
Right. Yeah, that's the only one.
That's the item he's talking about. Is that's the only item you'll get in first place, and even that's kind of rare. It's not all that often. What would be cool is maybe, and if they're going to leave that item, kind of like the ghost that takes an item from somebody. Maybe if you hit that ghost it tricks the blue shell into thinking second place is first place. You know, just something that's kind of off the wall and a little bit, just something to kind of throw that thing off, because it just feels out of place at this point. Like it's just, I don't know. It feels like when you're doing really well, you get punished from the guy you're not even really competing with at that point. You're competing with second and third place, and ninth place is the one ruining you, or 12th place, and it's kind of like, what? That seems place.
I was thinking, like, because that shell, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me like you said, you're in 9th place, 12th place. You fire that thing off, and it more or less stays to the middle of the track. I've noticed, like, if I'm in 4th place and I see it behind me, I get off to the side, and it kind of flies past me and you know, continues on to the guy in 1st place. What if it literally acted like a red shell and hit every single person on the way all the way up to 1st place? Then I could see it being a little bit more useful to the guy that's behind, because now, in a sense, I guess it's almost like a lightning in that case, where everyone gets hit ahead of you. I don't know. I'd rather see that even than just going for the guy in 1st place, and if you just happen to get hit by it.
Well, and I think, like in Mario Kart Wii, you could get the giant mushroom. You know, what if you could combine items to where, like, you take a giant mushroom and stick it to that shell, and it clears the entire track, like you were saying. It's just a giant shell coming along and just wiping everybody out, you know. I think maybe combining items or doing things like that, kind of like what happened in Double Dash, honestly, right? Like, if you played as Mario and Luigi, you had fireballs that were the only guys that could get those weapons. Like, that game, and I even think maybe it was Yoshi's. Something was very large that could be tossed in that game. Like, it was a Yoshi's egg, or maybe Bowser threw Bowser threw a really big spiny turtle shell as well, but it didn't track. It wasn't like just for 1st place. It just kind of bounced around like a green shell. You know, I don't know. I think they could improve. Like, I don't think they need to do anything to the racing. Like, we've got paragliders, we've got the boat, we've got the flying on the walls and going upside down,
breaking in turns, now even.
Yeah, like the racing is solid. Let's start adjusting the items to really get it fine tuned and balanced. And you know, it'll take time. It would take time for sure, but I think that's the one area that feels like they got a little bit slack in, that it's just like, you know, here's the items we've had since the 64, and they've mixed some in and taken some out. I'm glad the POW block is gone from Mario Kart Wii. That thing was just ridiculous. I don't even know how that thing worked. I don't remember. It was like you triggered it and everybody had a POW above their head and they all got wiped out from it. You know, it was weird. The squid I could really do without. That thing is.
I don't mind that. It's a challenge. Like, when you get hit by it. Yeah, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just way better than you. I don't know. But
that's probably it.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to bother me too much. I think it's a pretty good challenge, getting hit by that and still making the turns. I heard somewhere that the feather's back. Is that true?
In battle mode, it is.
Oh, well, that doesn't do me any good.
Well, no, for balloon mode, it's actually quite fun, because, like, you can actually jump over somebody and steal their balloon. And then in Shine Thief, you can jump over them and steal the shine. Is that right? Shine. I did want to say, when you mentioned the battle mode too, Coin Runner is probably the weakest out of the group, but I found. And Game Explained does a cool video. I'll try to include it in the show notes if I remember. If you really want to just unlock stuff, get up to 10,000 coins, you can do like 240 coins in a little under 40 minutes by setting up a 2-player coin runner. 1 minute. You can collect more than 10 coins, but it only counts 10. So you just drive around the Super Nintendo battle mode track, and get your 10 coins, and just wait for the timer to run out. And you set it to 24 rounds. It takes about 40 minutes. You'll end up with 240 coins really, really fast. So, if for some reason you just want to grind that way, it seems super boring to me, but you can do it. Renegade Roundup, I thought was cool on the right maps. I found that the one map that when the map splits and gives two different jails, it's a little bit tough for the team that has to break out the people that are in the little jails. The Super Nintendo map I thought was really good for that. Got Alka-Seltzer in the chat saying, "Remember to do something in your show notes." Thank you.
Rude.
But Bomb Blast was pretty fun though, right? I mean, did you like that where you could throw the bombs further the longer you held it down, or drop them behind you?
Well, hold on. Pause.
Yeah.
You can throw them further the longer you hold them down?
Yes.
That changes everything. That was so frustrating. Okay. That's amazing. I need to go play right now.
I had forgotten about it until you just mentioned it again. I guess that's the thing. Nothing was like, for me anyways, it was just like, oh, let's play that again. Playing with a lot of people is fun, but like, I don't know. The battle modes just didn't blow me away. But I've always liked the racing more. Even back in the Super Nintendo Mario Kart, I preferred the racing over the battle modes.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was just a nice change of pace, and like even playing with like my wife and my kids and stuff, like jumping into it, they were just like, honestly, my kids really hadn't experienced a really good battle mode, because 64 is the best one, in my opinion, and then they've kind of gone downhill ever since. And so I remember we did some on the DS that wasn't bad. The DS had some cool tracks too. Like you literally were driving on a giant DS, which was pretty fun. But then, I don't Double Dash. I don't even know if I did battle mode and Double Dash, to be perfectly honest. And we didn't do it much on the Wii. And so, and then the Wii U obviously was like, they didn't even think about battle modes. So, it's nice that it's so like integrated. You can easily do it online. It feels a little bit more like, it feels a little more intentional, which is nice, and not just completely tacked on. But I don't know. I think we should dive into it a little bit more, with even just doing some just to the balloon stuff, and maybe a little smaller group. It can get really hectic. You got to remember, we went like 64 was 4 players total. Mm-hmm. And so, and that you could be the bomb when you're all done, which was also fun, and that's gone now. So I don't know. It's overall for me, I think the game is a really good, like, complete package, and it's selling. It's the top, like the fastest selling Mario Kart in the 25-year franchise history. The fastest selling, which is crazy. It's crazy because it's basically it's a port, right? It's not even a brand new game, and so, but it is a brand new game to a lot of people.
Which kind of shocked me, because Amazon put out that it was selling better than the Zelda game.
Just for April.
Okay, just for April. Okay, because I'm like, how does that even work? Because I thought Zelda was selling like at 110% of the Switch hardware. They were thinking people were buying it in anticipation of getting the Switch. So I'm thinking like, well, how are people buying? I mean, were people doing the same thing with Mario Kart? I mean, I'm sure there's still people out there that don't have the Switch yet, and maybe they're just buying these games hoping to get their hands on one every week. I don't know. And then it depends too, because it's so weird. I think a lot of these people don't count digital sales, which I think is ridiculous, because I heard something like digital sales have increased by just like 75% or something like that. So who knows even how much this game is really sold. But yeah, they've already said, like Josh said, that it's like the fastest selling Mario Kart game ever. So, and I think it's people like us that have bought it but before on the Wii U that still like it. It's the people that have never played it before. It's a lack of games on the Switch, you know?
I think that's a huge part of it. I mean, what else are you going to buy on the Switch right now? Not saying Mario Kart's great, and I would have bought it anyways, but it came out in a time where did anything else launch in April for any console? I mean, that was significant.
Yeah, nothing that was like huge AAA titles. We got more teaser trailers than anything else probably this month.
Yeah. So it being the #1 selling game on Amazon for April, like that's cool. That's more press for Nintendo, which is great, but that really means nothing.
Yeah.
The one of the things worth noting too is the fact that you can basically set up the bumpers. I think Draco was the one that mentioned it in the chat here, where he can let his kids play easily without them constantly falling off. You know, you can basically set the game up to play itself, to where you can get the cart to accelerate and steer, so it will finish races on its own. But the other thing that Nintendo did, which I think is phenomenal, is I've heard a number of people say this is the first Mario Kart I've played since the 64. Or, you know, things like I've heard that multiple times. Like,
this is the first Nintendo console they've owned since the 64.
Right. This system has for some reason brought people back, you know. And I mean, we know the attach rate of Mario Kart Wii was like 30 million or something. Like it was crazy on the Wii. But you know, again, that I bought it because it was Mario Kart, but I didn't even like play that game through to completion like I typically do with a Mario Kart game. And so there's something about having a game of this caliber on a handheld also that is just very, like, I love, just like today. I got home from work, my wife was running around, the kids were all doing stuff. I didn't have time to necessarily stream. I was like, you know what? I just grabbed my Switch, sat down on the couch, and I think I had time for 2 races. And then I was like, man, I'm so tired. I just passed out for about 15 minutes, got a power nap. And then wife got home, we had dinner, and then we started podcasting. But it's just nice to, like, I didn't have to go and hook it up to the TV or anything like that. Just play it and boom, it's there. And I love that. I love that caliber of game in my hands.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
I haven't played it handheld yet. I don't know. Hey, have you played it yet? Handheld? Does it hold up?
Yeah. So I got it on the Friday it came out, and I was at work, and I happened to bring my Switch that day. So a coworker and I detached the tiny Joy-Cons, and we played. I mean, obviously, split screen is kind of brutal on that because it's tiny, but it's totally playable. It's fun. I was, you know, talking garbage to him the whole time because he's even worse than I am, which is great. So I think that's the beauty of the Switch. Like, I had a Wii U for about 3 minutes, and it just didn't capture my attention. But there's something, I don't want to say magical about the Switch, but it brings you back to the fun days of gaming. Like, I haven't touched my Xbox One because the last game I bought was For Honor, and it made me want to quit gaming forever. So I was like, you know what? I just want to play games that are fun. I don't want to have to just get destroyed so I can get better, and I want to have fun and enjoy gaming.
Yeah.
And that's what Mario Kart does. That's what the blue shell does, right? It allows people to to have fun even in 9th or 12th place. But go ahead, Dustin.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, maybe this was what Nintendo was really trying to get at with the Wii U that everyone just ignored. I really like a lot of the games that have come out on the Switch right now. And like you said, I haven't touched my Xbox One in who knows how long. I have a pretty built gaming PC that, you know, obviously I use for this type of stuff that we're doing right now. but I'm not like playing like the latest and greatest PC game right now. I'm playing the Switch, which, you know, has those bleeding edge 720p graphics.
Yeah.
But I'm not really like looking at the graphics. Like the Mario Kart, just the racing itself is really fun. You know, the Zelda game I thought was really good. I'm not gonna give it a 10 out of 10, but yeah, I think I thought it was a good game. Some of the mini games that have been on the system I really enjoy, and they're not like, you know, I'm not looking at these games saying like, oh my gosh, they're so photorealistic. Like, I'm enjoying this so much because of it. They're just simplistic in a sense, and I think the strategy that Nintendo's doing right now is like, look, we don't need to break the bank, you know, creating 4K textures for this. Let's just make a very solid core game, throw some cartoony graphics in there, because that's what a lot of their characters are, kind of cartoons. So, but there's nothing wrong with it, you know. Like I'm not enjoying any of those games less because they're not super high def.
I think the art style they use, it doesn't matter if it's 4K or 1080 or even 720. Like Nintendo's figured out, like, okay, we're maybe a little underpowered, but we're just gonna have beautiful games regardless. So yeah, it's not, you know, it's not a Michael Bay film like Your Lens, but it's still beautiful and fun and pretty.
Yeah, and I think they're kind of getting back to the old school video game, you know, like everyone loves the NES, which by today's standards looks like crap. But the nostalgia lens is there to some degree, but then to other degrees it's like, yeah, well, who cares if it looks all blocky? It was really fun and it was simple. I didn't have to worry about item management and which digital cable I need to plug this into my TV. Like the whole package was just simpler, and I think that's probably what this is. You know, it's just a simpler package all around. So I don't know. That's probably what's really nice. That's what I like about it, anyways.
And the thing is, they're just getting started, right? We haven't even really. I feel like we're just scratching the surface. Like we've had 2 AAA titles from Nintendo and their ports. Yeah. We've talked about that, and now we've got like I am very like optimistic for ARMS. I have a feeling it's going to really impress us, and that is because it's the same team that made Mario Kart 8. You know, and I think when you look at ARMS and you saw the presentation, the initial presentation where they had motion controls, it turned a lot of people off immediately because they went, it's another gimmick. Like that's what we said. We watched the chat. Like we were all in an Xbox party chat, a bunch of us watching it on Twitch, and we were like, oh, here's the gimmick game. Yeah. You know, but like it seems like they're trying to make this game like a like a decent fighting game. Like there's going to be like a chess match going on depending on which character you choose and which arms you choose, and you know, I'm definitely optimistic that this is that it's going to be good. And I mean, Splatoon, it may not be for me, or you know, maybe even you guys, but a lot of people really like Splatoon. They really like it, and I'll get it because I watched my little girl play it, and she was like, "This is so fun," you know, like that's the moments I want her to have. I want her to have those moments where it's like she's just enjoying herself playing video games. She's been playing Minecraft lately with her cousin over Xbox Live, and it's hilarious. They're doing the survival mode. Well, Minecraft's coming to the Switch, you know, and it's like the levels are like, I can't remember the number, but it's like 10 times larger than they were on the Wii U. And so, you know, I remember stepping in from the 360 to the Xbox One and going, wow, these levels are massive now. But to have a game like Minecraft on the go again is like, it's going to be crazy. And so ARMS, Splatoon, that kind of stuff. And then I think Mario Odyssey is going to be the icing on the cake for this year. And not to mention, there's the rumored Mario and Luigi plus, is it Rayman or Ray? I don't know what the rabbits or whatever. I don't know. It's something like that. I don't know much about. But
game?
Yeah,
it is. It is a Ubisoft game.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have to get your Uplay account and all that good stuff.
Exciting.
Hold on, where's the salt at?
Yeah, he's getting it. He's getting it. So I mean, Nintendo's they're definitely doing it right with this system, and it feels like they've finally licked their wounds and said we can't continue on the way we've been doing it. We can't, and it looks like it's working, and hopefully it continues. Hopefully the sales of the Switch continue. Hopefully the sales of the games continue, and then these conversations continue. Now, one of the things they got wrong was this NES Classic and not putting enough of them out in the wild, and actually really upsetting a lot of people.
It's because they didn't have the resources to continue making it.
Oh, because they're making a new 2DS XL?
3 days later, they suddenly have the resources to come out with the new 2DS. It's not new. It just has a hinge. Yeah. I didn't understand that. It was like in the span of like 4 days. I was like, real? I was totally like floored in a bad way when they were like, "Hey, 2DS." I'm like, after we had talked so much about like, are they gonna drop the 3DS like altogether, and focus on the Switch? That might be the way to go. And then it was just like, hey, 2DS, like. Maybe this covers their bases though, because the Switch is not cheap. It's $300, and then you got the 3DS, which is like $2 cheaper or whatever it is, and then
$199.
Okay, $199, and then what's this thing? $99?
$150.
$150. Yeah.
And then the original 2DS is $79.99.
So they're just going down. Next thing you know, we're gonna get what are they? Game and Watch? Is that what those things were called? They're gonna reintroduce that line. But those will be in 4K though.
But they'll be like amiibo, so you can get something out of them.
Yeah.
They'll have the NFC chip, and that'll be good.
Yeah.
Stop.
You'll have to lay that console on top of the reader of the other console.
They know that's the only way to get you guys to buy them, so they'll make sure.
The new amiibo? Is that what they're gonna call it?
Yeah. Every time you
amiibo?
touch them, it's all robots in disguise. Just plays it through a mini speaker.
I think with the NES Classic, I don't think it's a resource issue. I mean, you can make that same thing on a Raspberry Pi. I think it was just we need to stay relevant for a couple months until the Switch launches and get our name out there. And what's the best way to do that? By making Furbies. Let's make a product that everyone wants and no one can get their hands on. Yeah. Like the Furbies were stupid, but people bought them like crazy. I'm sure people like Tickle Me Elmo. So it wasn't a bad plan. It did exactly, I think, what they intended for it to do.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it was kind of a marketing decision. To put it out there, like you said, their name wasn't exactly. We've kind of been talking about it all show. Like the Wii U kind of left like a bad taste in people's mouth, like Josh, like you said, we saw ARMS and the first thing we thought was like, oh great, motion control, we weren't thinking of it in a positive way, but then you throw out this little mini NES, it gets people talking, it's good press, for a change, people suddenly love Nintendo again, and then it's like, oh, by the way, we got this new system that's coming out. So it was like, I feel like it was like, like you could say like a multi-prong attack approach, where it's like, hey, let's bring out this first. It'll lead into this. This will lead into 2DS because people will go to the store and can't find a Switch. And then it's like little Susie's crying to shut her up. You buy her the 2DS that just came out because they got plenty of those. Yeah.
They probably won't have plenty of those. Those will be in limited quantity too, just like everything else.
Yeah, those will be bought by all the scalpers and sold online for $500.
The 2DS, the new 2DS XL is pretty. It is pretty.
My wife does like that blue color.
And it's the complete it gives you the complete package for the 3DS line, because you get the Super Nintendo games, you get the games that only run on the new, which is like Xenoblade Chronicles, and then you get, you know, Super Nintendo games which don't work on the old one. So it's, I mean, it does give you that access to the complete library, which is cool. And a lot of people, you know, my daughters, my wife, my son, they all have the old 3DS. They don't even have a new one. So even this is kind of appealing to them, but at the same time, they're starting to play on my Switch, and they're like, you know, my youngest daughter is like, "Hey Dad, I think I want one of these. You know, I don't, this is what I want to play." And so, I mean, I get it. I'm the same way. Now that Mario Kart's out, guess what? I was playing my 3DS quite a bit. Mario Kart dropped. I think my 3DS battery is actually completely dead, which was never the case ever. And so, because that's what, if I got even a second to do a race or two, that's what I'm going to play. So, but right after the NES Classic was discontinued, Eurogamer reported that the SNES Mini or SNES Classic, Super Nintendo Classic, was already in production. So we kind of talked about it a little bit last week, but this week we want to build a list of our 30 games that we would put on this system. So guys in the chat, we want your help as well. And we're gonna make this list. I'm gonna even pull up a notepad here so that I can type them out as we go. And so let's see. I need to shrink this down. But guys, what are what are some of the games? I mean, there's simple ones, right? Super Mario World. I'll just kick off our first one.
I mean, obviously all of those are going to be there. So I'm going to go with my obscure hopes. Not really obscure, but Earthbound has to be one of them. I would like to see NBA Jam Tournament Edition. I would like to see Clay Fighter.
Yes.
Let's see, what else is Ken Griffey Jr.'s Major League Baseball. Spent weeks playing that. So I hope that'll get there. I mean, the rest are, you're going to get Super Mario Kart. You're going to get, all those games. So I know I'm forgetting something. Go ahead, Destinaut. What do you got?
There was one that I loved back in the day, and it was actually, I think, the second game to ever use the Super FX chip. It was called Stunt Race Fx. I don't know if you guys remember that one. I rented that one quite a bit. The Super Star Wars games. Those, I think, need to be on there. I don't know if you guys remember Rock and Roll Racing. It was like this top-down, three-quarter racing game, like almost like RC Pro-Am. But but it had like all these like rock, like Aussie tunes in the background and stuff like that. Uniracer was another one. You were like a side scroller unicycle racing game. Played the crap out of that one. Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Contra 3, I think it was for that system.
Well, they had Contra 3 and then Super Contra, maybe even another Contra.
Okay, yeah. But the Contra games, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter 2. There's a couple Turtles games, I think, on that one.
Yeah, there's the Fighter, like the arcade Fighter, and then Turtles in Time, which I think is a no-brainer. I'll burn that system if they don't put it on there.
And then I'm gonna steal this one before Josh gets the chance to say it. Super Metroid.
Yeah.
I can't even keep up with you guys here. I've almost got it.
Earthworm Jim.
Earthworm Jim.
Gotta have Earthworm Jim.
Yeah, guys, check the chat. There's quite a few in the chat right now too.
I know Killer Instinct. Instinct was on there. What do we got? What are people saying here? Donkey Kong Country, or if you're Draco Augustus, Donkey Long Country. I don't know what game that was. I don't think that
doesn't sound appropriate.
Yeah, I don't think that was a Nintendo
That was probably
system.
on Genesis.
Oh man, The Simpsons.
Yep.
Smurfs, really? Alka-Seltzer Smurfs? Never played that one on the Super Nintendo.
What was it? Lion King was surprisingly good,
and Aladdin.
Aladdin, yeah. I mean, normally movie games are horrible, but those were pretty good.
Yeah. Super Nintendo says Beavis and Butthead, and then the Battletoads / Double Dragon game, which was actually that wasn't two different games. That was one game. Top Gear and Earthworm Jim. I think we said Smash Bros. That's super.
Not at 64.
What?
Draco,
you're killing me.
Did you guys ever play Ogre Battle?
Yes.
Ogre Battle?
That was going to be one of mine.
Okay. That needs to hopefully make its way.
I just brought up a list right now. Mario Paint. That was actually...
No list. Don't bring up a list. Don't cheat.
Well, they can't do Mario Paint without the...
Well, we're going to build our list, then we'll look at your... we can pull it out.
I want Mario Paint on a mini SNES with a mini mouse pad and a mini mouse.
Okay,
and
Minnie Mouse. You
a
get
mini Super Scope 6.
You're prepping the salt. Get it ready now.
Okay, Super Scope 6. And what was... Oh, Super Mario RPG?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I just thought of one that I think no one's even mentioned yet, not even in chat. I can't believe we forgot it.
Star Fox?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're at
F-Zero.
30
about
right
F-Zero?
now. Okay, that's 31.
Ooh,
we're going to have to pull this list. So
Pilot Wings?
We gotta have F-Zero. Oh, Pilot Wings.
Did we already count up 30?
Paperboy 2. Paperboy 2 was on the Super.
Yeah, I haven't even done any from my head yet. Okay. Make sure we didn't miss any in the...
She said Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy 3.
Oh, of course, Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
Super Nintendo. This guy's going to know. I mean, look at the name. What's up, my man? FF3. Okay, let's...
I mean, who's to say they only have to do 30 games? Maybe the Super Nintendo can get twice as many games.
Yeah, it is Super after all.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we got Yoshi's Island.
Prem Griffin, Gradius. I remember that was on the Nintendo.
Gradius 3 was on
okay.
Super.
So they did have...
Or 4, 3, or something like that.
One was on NES, and then they had Life Force, which was like part 2, I think.
Yeah, Gradius is one of those games I've bought twice on my classic collection. Like, I was like, oh, crud.
First game to ever have the Konami code on it. Fun fact.
Really?
Yeah.
FX Racer we got on here, right? That's the first one of the ones you said. Stunt Race FX, same game.
Love that game, yeah.
Did we get Super Punch Out?
Ooh, nope. Super Punch Out. They also said Yoshi's Island. Prime
got
Griffin
that.
and DDK2.
Yep, I got that. So, I don't know if you guys ever played a game called Utopia. It was kind of like a Sim City kind of game.
No, but Sim City was on the system.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sim-ant.
So was Super Pitfall, but I don't. We have to add. We don't have to add all of these, but
No, I never played Utopia.
Okay.
Utopia is definitely one we're checking out even now. If you like those kind of, you have to like start your city and then get resources and then build defenses, because then periodically stuff will come attack, but it's not like, that's not the focus of the game. The focus of the game is to have a thriving city. So a utopia, if you will. This game is definitely not great, but Pit Fighter was one of the first Super Nintendo games I ever had.
That was actually also that was pre Mortal Kombat, where they used like live action cameras to capture the footage. And like, but it was bad. Like one guy had on like mirrored sunglasses and like yoga pants, no shirt. That's all I remember. There were like 3 guys, I think.
Yeah, and there's I'm sure there's Kirby games, right, on the Super Nintendo.
So you just said that.
Yeah. Super Ghouls and Ghosts.
Yes,
Ghosts and Goblins or whatever.
I think it's Ghouls and Ghosts. It was Ghosts and Goblins on regular or something. They had to confuse.
Final Fight, even though you couldn't do 2-player.
Yep.
You didn't even have Guy. They came out with a completely separate game to have Guy on there, because you could only play as like Cody and
Hagar.
Mayor Hagar with his freaking overalls to go save his daughter. Get out of here.
Like he stepped out of Deliverance to become mayor.
He did have an epic stash, though, so I'll give him that.
Hey, Mega Man X.
Oh, yeah. How'd you forget that?
Yeah.
One of the best. So we're going to have to cull this all down. We're at 45 games so far. Man, oh, man. We got Zombies Ate My Neighbors. So let's see. I'm kind of drawing a blank, but Maximum Carnage was really good.
Maximum Carnage? Which one was that? Oh, that's the red cart, dude. I had that.
Red cart Spider-Man.
Yeah. It's probably in the trash somewhere right now.
For a sports game, NFL Quarterback Club was really good as well. So was Super Play Action Football, but I think Quarterback Club was a little better. So we got to keep going. We're at 47.
I think I know for sure it was on Genesis, but I'm pretty sure the original FIFA game, the EA FIFA, was on Super Nintendo.
Did we not say A Link to the Past?
Wow, we suck.
We should probably include that on the list.
We kind of skipped over like the. I feel like we kind of skipped over like the main. Like we should have gone first party titles.
Yeah.
And then third party titles, because. So we're at.
So do you have any of the Mario games on the list, or are we that deep without it?
No, we have Super Mario World at the top.
Okay.
But then there's Mario All-Stars, which was great on.
Yeah.
Was there a Castlevania game on the SNES?
Yep.
There was Super Castlevania. Was there another one outside of that?
I don't remember.
We did get Ken Griffey Jr. Speed Demon, I don't think Streets of Rage was on there. It was Double Dragon, and then Battletoads.
Streets of Rage was Genesis, unless they ported it over. Wasn't the X-Men game on there? The arcade X-Men game?
So the X-Men game that I remember was called Arcade's Revenge, and it was actual trash. It was hot garbage.
Well, then we don't want that on the list.
It was... I own it. I have it. Because it was one of those games that I was determined to beat, even though it was terrible. You could play as Spider-Man, and you play as Wolverine, and you literally could do one uppercut with Wolverine, and that was it. It was and you have to slice through presents because the villain you were playing is Arcade. That's his name, and he was like a Marvel's version of the Joker. And I remember the game reminded me most of disarming the bombs on the dam in the Turtles game, and it just drove me crazy. It drove me nuts.
Wasn't there another X-Men game? Because I remember playing as Nightcrawler in... maybe that was on a different system.
Well, X-Men 2 was on Sega, on Genesis. It was amazing.
Oh, okay,
it was a 2D side scroller,
That's
and
cool.
you could play as Wolverine, you could play as Cyclops, you could play as Storm, you could play as Nightcrawler, and that was the best. It's the one Genesis. Like I think I have 2 Genesis games, and that's one of them.
Yeah, that one's great. Put that on the list.
3. Put that on the.
Speed Demon, the NHL game, I think was just called. I think if you're talking about the EA one, it was just like NHL Hockey, and then whatever the year was, like NHL Hockey '94 or something like that. But those NHL games were great. It's like the top down. The skating was actually precise. It wasn't like ice hockey on the Nintendo where you only pick skinny guy, fat guy. Actually had stats.
Skinny. Hey, Blades of Steel. Blades of Steel. Dribble, dribble. Oh man. So, okay. So we're over 50 now, and I think with everybody in the chat, I think we've got a pretty good. Oh, I got another one. I can't remember the name of this game. I didn't own it. My uncle did, but it was a Red Baron game where you had to do like World War II dogfighting. It was the closest that it was basically a third-person dogfighting game. So it was basically the Top Gun of Super Nintendo for me.
So unbeatable.
And so it was tough, dude. It was very tough. Oh, and Super Nintendo saying Lost Vikings. I think I didn't get that one in here, which I never. Secret of Mana, of course. I meant to put that one in.
Yep. Did we get you? You got the Final Fantasies, I think, from before. I think they were on there. Yeah.
Snoopy Red Baron or Frozen Pizza Red Baron? Oh, neither one of those. Neither one of those.
Are we putting Chester Cheetah on this list?
Oh, I know. Like Cool Spot. We're gonna.
Cool Spot was pretty dang solid.
Yeah, it was. It was. Okay, so do you think they're only gonna do? Griffin, we do have Turtles in Time. So how are they gonna look? Some of these games are gonna be lost to licensing, right?
Yeah.
Turtles, it ain't happening. Even though the game is so good, it's not gonna happen. Like Big Apple, 3 a.m. James.
Yeah. Oh, James Pond was so good.
Animaniacs. Oh my gosh. The list goes on.
Any of the Konami games, Konami is so backwards right now. Unless it's coming out on a casino machine, I don't think we're seeing any Konami games.
Sunset Riders.
That was also a very good one.
Yeah, it's a very expensive game too. It's not cheap, but so fun. They couldn't do it. I guess if we're going to throw Super Scope in there, how about Lethal Enforcer? Do you guys remember doing that on the Super Nintendo with the pink and blue 357s?
I had regular controllers.
You didn't have the light guns?
I didn't have any light guns.
See, my neighbor was like the rich kid that had all the good stuff. So he had the Super Nintendo and the Sega. And so, we would do Mortal Kombat over at his house on the Sega because it had the blood until Mortal Kombat 2 came out. Then finally the Super Nintendo was back on top with Mortal Kombat. But man, this is quite the list. We're almost to 60.
What about Dragon, the Bruce Lee story? I looked it up. I'm cheating. Sorry. But
how did
I
you
remember
come up
playing
with
it.
That one.
No. I do remember playing it because
I do remember playing that one as well.
Bruce Lee was awesome, but
it was kind of like a Double Dragon style game, wasn't it?
Yeah, fighting.
Batman Returns was a phenomenal Konami 2D beat 'em up. It was amazing. The best part about that game is, do you guys remember in that movie when Selena Kyle is being held by one of the Penguin's like clowns, and he's got a taser?
Yeah. Right?
He's holding it up to her, and Batman shoots his little cable behind the guy and then pulls the wall on him, and that's how he knocked him out. I remember in the game, the first time I just went and fought the guy and just punched him a bunch, and it took forever, and he had a big health bar. The second time I did it, I'm like, wait a minute. I have this item. I shot the wall and pulled a big chunk of it out onto the guy and took most of his health down. And I was like, oh, this is the best game ever. So that one's gotta make the list.
There was that game. The only reason I remember this is because you brought up Batman. I read an article recently talking about Batman video games that have been around. There was actually one on the original NES. If anyone goes back, it was actually I think it might even actually be the last Nintendo game ever made. And they were just saying how good it was because like the characters on screen were huge, which came later on in the Nintendo life. Like you look at the oldest like probably Super Mario Brothers versus the games that were coming out for that system at the very end, you would think they were completely different systems.
Are you not talking just the main Batman game, right? Like the 1989?
No, it wasn't even a movie tie-in Batman. It came out at around that time, which was very weird because you're like, why isn't this like the movie? But no, it was just straight up like based on the comic almost.
I see. Well, we got enough games for 2 SNES minis, just so you guys know. I'm going to read the list real quick. We're at 59.
Hey, can we do number 60, Looney Tunes B-Ball?
Okay.
Boom.
I'm probably the only one who played or liked that game, but I'll take it.
Hey, there you go. And I'm sure like somebody's going to be listening to this screaming at their phone or whatever going, how could you guys forget this game?
Cement. Idiot.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, here we go. Super Mario World, Earthbound, Clay Fighter, King Griffey Jr.'s Baseball, NBA Jam Tournament Edition, Super Mario Kart, Stunt Race Fx, Super Star Wars, Super Empire Strikes Back, Super Return of the Jedi, Rock and Roll Racing, Uniracer, Zombies Ate My Neighbors, Super Contra, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter 2, Turtles in Time, Super Metroid, Earthworm Jim, Donkey Kong Country, The Simpsons, Lion King, Aladdin, Beavis and Butthead, Battletoads / Double Dragon, Ogre Battle, Mario Paint, Destinat, Super Scope 6, Destinat, Super Mario RPG, Star Fox, F-Zero, Pilot Wings, Paperboy 2, Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy 3, Yoshi's Island, Donkey Kong Country 2, Gradius 3, Super Punch-Out, Utopia, Pit Fighter, Kirby, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Final Fight, Mega Man X, Maximum Carnage, NFL Quarterback Club, Link to the Past, Mario All-Stars, Super Castlevania, NHL, Red Baron, Lost Vikings, Secret of Mana, James Pond, Animaniacs, Sunset Riders, Lethal Enforcer, Batman Returns, Looney Tunes, B-Ball. That was a lot, guys. That was 60 games. So if we missed any and you guys are listening to this after the fact, go ahead and tweet at us and tell us why isn't this game on there. Mega Man 7 is awesome. That's one of those Super Nintendo games I think probably very few people have played. If X2 and X3 are as good as X1, I'm sure they're stellar also. So hopefully we could see some titles like that on there that were a little bit more rare, but are really good. So,
you know what games I'm pretty sure were on the SNES that were probably a pain in the butt to put on that system? The original Doom game.
It was.
Oh, it was. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
and Real Monsters, someone just said.
Yeah, Real Monsters. That was a really fun game.
Oh, did a Rampage game ever come out on the Super Nintendo?
I think that game ended up coming out on the PS2.
I know Godzilla did, which was fun.
Gogeta.
I have Harvest Moon. That's another kind of staple title.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we're at 64. That's a good number to end on.
All right, cool.
So I added Godzilla. I don't know if you guys heard me say that or not, but that was pretty fun back in the day too. Guys, you guys remember that?
You totally broke up on my screen. I have no idea what you said.
So the guys would go flying ever.
Yeah, I heard
Thought you were doing
In a
your
body
Rihanna
bag. That was one of the lines in that game. High impact football is what it was. Super high impact football. Yeah, check that one out. So, Smash TV.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
This could go on. We have to stop.
So basically, every game made for Super should be on the SNES Classic. That's fine.
Here's one that I can't believe I forgot. UN Squadron.
Mm-hmm. That was a fun game.
R-Type.
Never played it, but I wanted to. I always saw it like in the magazines, and I'm like, that looks awesome. And then I wasn't rich.
I think it was super R-Type. So anyway, we could keep going. But tons of good games on the Super Nintendo. I'm sure there's some we missed. Lastly, just real quick, Destinaut. How'd you feel about the Zelda DLC? And then we will put a bow on this thing. Because you've purchased this already, and I haven't purchased it.
I already have. Yeah, it's in the mail. Just real quick, we're getting a lot more costumes. We're getting a tracker mode, which if you look at your map, it basically shows you what do they call those, like in Destiny? They're called like heat maps. Kind of like showing where you've gone on this map so that you can find areas where you haven't been yet, and then you can then go to those areas. I mean, probably to find seeds or shrines that you've missed. So there's that. We're getting, it says if you've grabbed, was it like a hero mission? It says if you've grabbed a certain secret item, you can then do this quest. I'm guessing it's probably the Master Sword. I don't know. I didn't find it to be a lot. But then I kind of looked at it and I was like, well, you know what? This DLC is like in 2 parts. So if you look at this as the first part and say like, oh, this is worth $10, it's probably worth $10. Oh, and then hard mode. I forgot about hard mode, where the enemy's health gradually regenerates. So I'm guessing if you're fighting someone and you attack them and then you like run for 2 miles trying to eat fruit and, find weapons before killing this thing, its health is just going to regenerate. So I wasn't totally blown away by the details of what we already knew what was coming. They gave us like a vague outline. I wasn't blown away by the details, but to be 100% honest, I don't know if it's enough to drag me back in. So I don't know. I don't know.
What about you, Hate?
I don't know if it's enough to drag me back in, but not because it's inadequate content. I think the hard mode also makes the base level of every monster 1 higher. So instead of red, they start blue, I think.
Okay.
Which is cool. I mean, in the beginning, the game was extremely hard, but it doesn't really scale with you. I know people say it does, but I was running around like a monster at the end. Nothing could touch me.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, I think it's worth $10. The hard mode, now you have flying enemies and flying treasures, I guess, is what they said. I'm not sure how that... I hope that to mean dragons, but it's probably just like octo-balloon characters or something. The costumes I could take or leave, but I do think that the tracker is a pretty cool addition. I wouldn't pay $10 for the tracker, but
yeah.
And the Cave of Trials, is that coming out? Is that the Master Sword content? Is that what?
Be, because that part was the part that was still kind of vague for me. Like I said, it said if you find a hidden item, you can it'll unlock that quest. And
it has to be the Master Sword.
That's the only thing that I can kind of think of that was like a hidden item. The only other thing being, I won't say it, but it's the item you get for completing all the shrines. Actually, now that I think about it, there's also an item you get for getting all the seeds. So maybe they're talking about those items.
That'll never happen.
Yeah.
There's too many.
Not in my lifetime.
Way too many.
Drummer says he was hoping for more shrines and another divine beast, which, I mean, that would have been great, but I don't know how that would have worked in the story. I think that would have been what kind of throws it off a little bit.
Well, there possibly
Spoilers.
could be.
End
Wink,
conversation.
Fist bump.
Yes, when you beat the game completely, there is a possible open end.
Okay, there you go. We'll leave it at that. No, we'll keep it spoiler free. So, yeah, I guess I haven't purchased the DLC yet. The horde mode or whatever, wave after wave of enemy.
I mean, that too.
That's that's fine. I think that's kind of tied to the quest you guys were talking about. I think.
Okay.
I think
maybe that's the Cave of Trials.
Yeah, that's what the horde mode is, and so, I kind of want to see it. I want to see it in action to see if it's something I want to. I want to purchase. And hopefully E3 we find out what the final DLC is. Hopefully they let us know what it's going to be. Because if it is something that's like more shrines, more dungeons, that kind of stuff, then the $20 is well worth it. All this other stuff is just kind of filler if it gives me a reason to go further into this game and go back into this game and explore more story content. So
I'll tell you what's worth $20 alone. Tingle outfit. Am I right?
You are right, dude.
Yeah, something.
Take my money. I can't. I'm just throwing it at my screen right now, looking at that picture.
Jeez.
Like, man,
There's
nothing more terrifying.
This is a G-rated podcast. I'm not going to say what I thought when I saw that.
I feel like this first wave, like everything they included, would have been free, typically. So I'm hoping that the next round of DLC is something substantial, like a big story piece. So we'll see. As of right now, I'm not upset that I purchased the DLC. It's not. It was $20. The Switch shirt alone's worth $25. So, I mean, I feel like I got a good value.
Hey, I feel like that was sarcasm.
No, not at all.
All right, boys. Well, hey, we went pretty long. I want to give a big shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you for hanging out with us. Drummer, Super Nintendad, Alka-Seltzer Teeny, Prime Griffin, Draco is still here, I believe. I'm kind of just scrolling up to see who else. Speed Demon. Yeah, of course, all the bots. But seriously, guys, thanks for being here. Hate, where can people find you, or just kind of play? Like, I know you don't have a lot of you're not on a lot of social media, but
no, I don't. You can find me on the Switch. My Switch friend code is SW147. No, I'm just kidding. That's ridiculous.
I was like, no, he's not.
I will include it in the Google Docs on the Discord. So I'm willing to game.
All right, cool. Destinat, where can we find you, man?
You can find me at Destinat TLC over on Twitter. And you can find us here, me and Josh, with a plethora of guests, cornucopia of guests that we have. Every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Pacific and 9 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/The Loot Cave.
That is correct. And like Hate mentioned, the Discord, guys, you can go to thelootcave.com/NPC Discord if you want to join the conversation there. It's got it's growing. We got quite a few people in there, and the conversations are a lot of fun. Talking about this morning, we were talking about Animal Crossing on mobile, and oftentimes we'll post links in there and kind of just discuss the stuff that's going on. So it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. So definitely check that out. It's thelootcave.com/NPC Discord. Guys, you'll find me on Twitter at N64Josh. You'll find me on Twitch at N64Josh. You'll find me on Instagram at N64Josh and Facebook. And all the places. We went over it last time. So in the last show.
I don't remember. What were they?
Oh, I don't know. I heard Farmer's Daughters, Christian Mingle.
Whoa.
Now I'm probably going to end up there, or Farmers Only,
Don't
not
go to that
Farmer's
website.
Daughter.
Farmer's
folks.
Daughter.
Yeah, don't go to that website. That's a joke in our chat, so forgive me for that one. Yeah, guys, we also need some reviews. Yeah, there we go. They're all like Farmer's Daughter, ha ha ha. I meant to say Farmers Only. Forgive me. We could use some reviews. So if you weren't too offended by me saying Farmer's Daughter and you still like us, please hit us with a 5-star. We'd really appreciate that. And we've had some requests for a Patreon, so we'll be starting one of those very soon. And just stay tuned for that. We really appreciate you guys listening. You guys in the chat, thank you so much. And we'll see you very soon. Later.